Well, good evening, everybody. I'm going to take just a second here to ask that uh, my audio is working, and then we'll get on with tonight's presentation. So if someone would give me an okay on the audio, I would appreciate it. Let me do this. Let me just do a quick test of my audio. Testing 1, 2. Yeah, we're going. We're good. Thank you. Now I'm going to be out of chat during this presentation, so bear with me. Now, as I said in the teaser, Florida is known for its tourism. It's known for a place where people can come and enjoy life either as a retiree or as residents here seeking the jobs that Florida has to offer. And some people go into business for themselves. This is the story of a woman who is a businessman woman here in Florida and who, through no fault of her own, had an encounter with what has to be one of the worst stalkers ever seen in the state of Florida. Now, some of you are probably thinking this is about a certain woman that lives over on Florida East Coast. Tonight, it is not. This is about a woman who lived in Charlotte County, Florida, Punta Gorda to be specific, and she operated a booth in the Punta Gorda Farmers Market on Saturdays, selling, of all things, golf accessories. This is something she did for enjoyment in addition to her regular employment. And up until one spring weekend, almost 3 years ago, she lived a normal life. That changed when she had an encounter with this man. His name is Ian George McGuire. Excuse me, McGuire. Mr. McGuire made himself well known, going around Charlotte County, Florida, showing signs such as this. He was known as an auditor. These are individuals that go around and protest law enforcement. They follow them around with cameras, try to catch them in doing bad conduct. And auditors do this with all government agencies, law enforcement, county people, courts, you name it. These auditors are there. And he is one of them. Now, when he showed up at the flea market booth of this woman, he had this sign on his chest. This sign was celebrating the death of 2 law enforcement officers in Orange County, Florida, specifically in Orlando, about 25 miles from where I presently live. The female officer happened to see a wanted man coming out of a Walmart. He was wanted for the killing of his girlfriend. And when the suspect saw her, he drew his gun and fired, killing the officer. The deputy on the right was a motorcycle officer for the Orange County Sheriff's Department. He was running traffic control and attempting to establish a perimeter on Pine Hills Road, which is a ways from the Walmart where the shooting occurred, when he was accidentally struck by a van and died in the line of duty. Because of his death in law enforcement and his being connected to the case, the killer was charged with both of their murders. He was subsequently charged and was sentenced to death row. Now, Ian McGuire made a habit of going around the area with this sign on, confronting various individuals with his camera, talking to them even if they did not want to be photographed. Mr. McGuire confronted her at her booth, and she told him she did not like the sign. He kept pointing the camera at her. She asked him to leave. He did not leave. He kept literally chasing around while she hid behind her husband. Just kept confronting the woman, and eventually she walked over to the manager of the flea market, Ian McGuire, filming her every move, and demanded that the operator call the police, which he did, and the sheriff's department came. Now, Ian McGuire put this video up on his YouTube channel, and he also had a Facebook channel. Now, Ian McGuire did a number of things, and this is what eventually would get him in trouble. Now, this woman had filed a protection order against stalking, which was granted by the state of Florida and Charlotte County. Mr. McGuire promptly disobeyed that order, and he was arrested and brought into jail, and a hearing was set as to what he had done, and Miss Westall, I believe her last name is, testified in court as to what happened. And as soon as I get this set up, I will start the recording. I'm just trying to, here we go.
There is no audio and video recording. All right. If you could both please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, ma'am, your name for the record?
Alice Gail Whitesell.
Okay, you have filed a petition for injunction for protection against stalking. Okay, so what happened?
On October 9th, I was at the Punta Gorda Farmers Market, and Ian McGuire, I didn't know who he was at the time, came up, and I thought he was videotaping the farmers market.
Were you shopping?
No, I work a booth there,
Okay.
one at a time, and I saw him walk up, and I thought he was videotaping something nice for the farmers market. Then I saw his sign that said F. Charlotte County, and I asked him, I said, what do you have on your shirt? And he said, it's not on my shirt, it's on a placard. And I'm like, well, I find it offensive. Would you please leave my booth? Would you please go away? He didn't have to. He has his First Amendment right. He can stand there in video. And I said, but I'd like you to please leave the front of my booth because my customers do not want to come and buy stuff when they see offensive things. They go around it. They avoid it. So he stayed there, kept videoing. So I told my husband, watch the booth, that I would be right back. I was going to go get Jerry and ask Jerry if he could please call the police.
Who's Jerry?
Jerry Tressler is the one that runs the farmer's market.
Oh, okay.
We pay money for that spot.
Sure.
And I went to Jerry, or I went out of my booth, and when I did, Ian followed me on camera. I was frightened because I don't know this guy, and he's coming at me with a camera. I ducked through the LuLaRoe booth. I went over the lawn ornaments. Then I saw the EBT tent where Jerry usually sits, so I ran to that, and I got to Jerry and I said, he's bothering me, would you please call the police and ask them to leave my booth and leave me alone. He continued to videotape me. I was hiding behind Jerry. I'd go on this side, that side, anything to get away from him videotaping me, and I kept asking him not to do it. But he says he has his First Amendment right, which I respect the First Amendment and all the amendments. But I wasn't feeling I had any rights. So then the police came, and they told me, the officer told me that if I wanted to do anything, I could do a restraining order, whatever. I was going to let it go because I thought, he'll leave me alone. Maybe he'll just go away. But he came back to my booth and he said, lady, do you understand the First Amendment right? Lady. And I'm like, I understand it. Just leave me alone. The next week I was there. He was right back there again, videotaping me, bothering me. I would go on the back of my booth to hide from his videotaping. He would come around on that side and videotape me. I'd go back in my booth. He'd be right there in my face. Back the other side. I took off to the bathroom. I wanted to get away from him. Well, I couldn't, and he continued to bother me. So Patrick with Bam Bakery jumped out. He was done with his stuff, was all sold out. And he started videotaping him and speaking in German. I don't know what he was saying to him, but he was very uncomfortable that Patrick was doing this to him. But at least he got him away from me so that I could work my booth. So it went on for a while with him videotaping, and finally Ian walked off. But then the third week, Ian comes, and he does the same thing. He comes right to my booth. It's behind the Target. So I go on the back of my booth, I go in the front of my booth, I go on the side. It was so bad, Bam Bakery did not let Patrick come back that week because Ian had put a placard up with Patrick's face and called him ISIS. And we know all the craziness going on in this world with people shooting people that are ISIS. And Patrick is a veteran. He's a young man that just got back from Iraq and Syria. And he works for the bakery. He's a good kid. He heckled him, heckled me. I went to the bathroom. He got me going through the back. It's on his videos, trying to get to the bathroom. And I stayed there for 10 minutes so I would not be bothered. Then I come back, I try to work in my booth. Him and his auditors are there, just constantly video.
Him and his what, I'm sorry?
They're called his auditors, whatever they are. They're there to video too. I have no clue. But when he does his videos, he puts them on YouTube. He's making money off of humiliating me. And my grandchildren have all seen it. And they have put in, they're all in college, and they've all put out things to YouTube to get him off and get his channels down. These college kids are fighting for me because I feel I have no rights to tell him, leave me alone, doesn't know me, no, get away from me. I'm not asking for you to videotape me. Go do something constructive instead of walking around with a sign at a farmer's market, bothering the veterans, the other people that work for booths, with your offensive signs, which I know it's your First Amendment, but you're at a farmer's market where people are coming to relax on vacation. They have their children there, and you're walking with a sign that says, F the sheriff, F the police, F Charlotte County. If you don't like them, do it somewhere else. Do it in front of their buildings. But don't come after me and the other people down there. And then this last week, it's been 4 weeks in a row. And, well, the third week, he did bring his camera in the side of my back of my booth. He stuck the long telescoping thing in there. And I don't know anything about cameras. He could be recording our conversations. I don't know. But I yelled at him, I said, just leave me alone. Please leave me alone. That's all I wanted to do was just go away and leave me alone. I don't care movie videos. I do care. Please do it the right way. And I don't believe our First Amendment said that people can inflict pain on each other or cause distress. And I feel like I've been put under distress from him. The fourth week, this past week, I didn't know this other gentleman. He jumped in. And he got him. Ian came to my booth immediately as videotaping. I didn't leave. I turned around and took my phone and put it in his face to show him this is what it feels like. It hurts. But he just smiles and walks on away. But this other guy came in and he got into a conversation and started following him and videotaping him. And now he calls this guy a protector of old ladies. Well, you know what? I'm glad there's a protector of old ladies. And I'm proud to be an old lady. I was like 66 years and never had to go through crap like this. And I don't think it's right. It's not right. I'm raising 2 kids that I love dearly, my grandkids. And I'm trying to provide for them by working that growers market to make money. And when you chase my customers away, that people leave them uncomfortable, I don't make money. He's taking money off my table, but he's making money off of me by putting it on YouTube or his channels or asking for money from people.
All right, sir, what would you like me to know? Your name for the record?
My name is Mr. McGuire.
What's your first name, please?
Ian,
Thank you. And what do you want me to know about this?
Okay, first off, ma'am, I am a member of the media. I have my press credentials here.
Go ahead.
Well, I got several things to her. I have all the relevant statutes for the First Amendment activity I was doing over there. Do you care to see those, ma'am?
Well, I'm familiar with the First Amendment, but just tell me in your own words, what was the whole purpose of what you were doing?
Okay, well, her booth happens to affront a public sidewalk that's in front of the Old County Courthouse. The farmers market takes place on a public park, which, as you know, First Amendment activities generally permitted to be in a public park, parks, public sidewalks. And there's the old courthouse, there's a big sidewalk that goes around it, and that's where they put all their booths. So I decided I would go exercise First Amendment activity, and I hold a sign, to display my feelings towards the county.
Which is what? I don't know what the sign is.
It said, "Fuck the county."
Like a placard?
Yeah, like a cardboard sign, like in front of me, and, with a string to hold it on.
Okay.
And I videotape for my own personal protection and, also to document, this activity to put on my YouTube channel.
Your personal protection from what?
Well, people like to attack you or call the police as cheated and make stories up, so it's very important that I document what I'm doing to protect me in a court proceeding.
Okay, all right.
But I also take the footage, and it is a matter of a public interest to me to make sure that the First Amendment is protected and that people have a right to freely express themselves. So I publish that on my channel.
Of you walking on the sidewalk?
Yes, ma'am. Holding a sign and in the interactions that I have with people and stuff like that. Actually, I have a copy on a flash drive of the events that took place at the farmers market. She is just one, but maybe 20 or 30 people that I videotaped and talked to and had conversations. I didn't actually have any real conversations with her, other than asking her why she was calling the police on me for First Amendment activity.
So tell me about that. How did you wind up that you're videotaping this lady here?
I just happened to be, walking down the side, because I pace back and forth, when I'm holding my sign, doing my protest. So I come back, and then I was just, videotaping. She begins yelling, "I don't want to be filmed, your sign is vulgar, get out of here, you don't have a right to be here." I was trying to explain, "Ma'am, this is a public venue, if she doesn't like it, she can simply go somewhere else, or choose not to engage me. That's something she did on her own."
Well, but let me ask you something. She, in her testimony, she's saying she did go somewhere else and you followed her. Is that what happened?
Yeah, she said she was calling the police on me and getting some guy named Jerry. So naturally, I wanted to document this because I need to know what this woman is about to say about me. She's about to make an accusation to a police officer for some crime she thinks I've committed.
Okay.
And then actually, when I went over there, she told me to stand with her while she was calling the police and out by the road, and I had videotape footage of this. So if she is so in fear of me that and all this, why would she invite me to stand next to her and wait for the police? And I told her, I said, ma'am, listen, I don't want to stand out here next to the road and like hang out with you while police come. I'm going to go videotape other things. And then I left. And she sat out there by the road with the Jerry guy, and I went in and videotaped other things and held my sign and continued my personal activity.
So this is the first day?
The first day, yes.
Okay, all right. And so then you come back the next weekend?
Yes, ma'am. I think I had a different sign and talked to police or something like that.
Okay.
And I was walking by, and she did her thing, but this time she was having all of her employees come out and with their cameras and videotape me, as I walked by. When they began doing this, I began filming them as well, thinking this might be a confrontation. And then I was crossing the street. There's some Jehovah's Witnesses that hand out pamphlets and things, and I talked to them. And there's a crosswalk, and I was going across the crosswalk. She comes out of the back of her tent, walks halfway up to me, holding a camera, taking my picture, shouting, "Stalking, stalking." Which is another thing. And if she's in fear of me, why does she choose to come out of her tent to engage me while I'm going somewhere else? It doesn't make any sense now.
Okay. So that's the second day?
Yeah, and then she also called the police on me again. There's an officer, Lieutenant Lipker, that came. And he explained to her that I do have a right to come there and film. I can hold a sign. I mean, he was telling her to go get a restraining order if she didn't like what I was doing. And then that's where all of this came about.
So that's the second weekend?
Second weekend.
So tell me about the third weekend.
Third weekend, I came there. There was a man named Patrick she was speaking of that had gone online and started all this stuff with me, and also who had been heckling me at the farmer's market. When I would come there and hold my sign, he would come up and start videotaping me and yelling at me in German and making fun of my shoes. And I had found out that this guy that claimed to be a veteran had actually gone to Syria and fought with a terrorist organization. He's not a U.S. veteran that he was betraying, and that he was actually wanted and had fled the country for spitting on and fighting with a police officer in downtown Fort Myers. So I had a sign that said, "I spit on cops," with his picture on it. And I was walking around, and I was at the band booth, and I walked down. It's like a water softening table. They sell water filters and things. And filmed and went down, and there was like her booth. And she began her tirade again, filming me, telling me she's calling the police. And then I guess Lieutenant Lipker came there again. And I think that was pretty much all of what summed up that day. Because then I went to the other side of the farmer's market and was over there where some guy actually verbally assaulted me, telling me I was dog excrement and all these things.
Those were the words he used?
Well, dog shit, something like that.
I mean, if you're going to drop the F-bomb in court, and then you're going to say dumb, really? I mean, you might as well just tell me what...
you asked me what my sign said. So
well, I know. That's why I said, okay, what did he say? Go ahead.
So, and then, yeah, I think that pretty much sums up that week.
Okay. Next week?
The fourth week, I don't really think I really had any interaction with her. That was this weekend. I came there. I was walking around doing my thing. There was a guy there that immediately came up to me, began yelling, filming, telling me I was a badass and all this stuff, following me around, accosting me, which I'm thinking is the protector of old ladies guy she's talking about, not 100%. But it's the same gentleman that's with her today. And following me around, cursing at me. My schedule was a little tight because I had to go to work in the afternoon, so I decided just to leave. I really didn't have any interaction with her that day.
And did you film her that day?
I don't believe so.
Okay, now, her testimony and her petition said that you followed her through the flea market, farmer's market, excuse me. When she went to the ladies' room, that you followed her there, is that accurate?
I've never followed her to the ladies' room, ma'am. I think she should clarify herself.
Okay, so...
The only time I ever followed this woman was the one time when she said she was calling the police and going to get some guy named Jerry, and I followed her over there to see what this was all about. Never followed her anywhere, never come to her home. I didn't even know her name or her address or all these things that she's now made public until they filed me or served me with a restraining order.
Okay, so in her petition, she says that she ran to the market, ducked through other people's booths, and jumped over lawn ornaments, and that you were taping and following her with the camera.
Okay, are we talking about the incident where she's going to the Jerry guy and calling the cops?
The first day.
And that's the only time I have ever followed this woman. And I believe if you ask her, she will probably tell you that.
And then the next, so the second week, you were right back in front of her particular booth again, filming her? Is that right?
I was filming, and I had a sign, and she appeared in it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, anything else that you want me to know?
Your Honor, I only ever called the police the first time when I went to Jerry, and Jerry called him. I never called the police the other times. He thinks I did because I took my phone. I did what the police officer told me, to take my phone and leave my booth and go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and he did come down, and he was filming me walking through the back. I did stop at the Veterans, but then he got tied up with Bam and Patrick there, and there was a crowd which stopped him from getting through the crowd. And I never, when he came to my booth, I never yelled at him and screamed at him. That is a lie, except the third time when he stood there and I told him to please stop videotaping me. He has misconstrued his story. He edits his tapes. He puts on what he wants to put on.
Ma'am, if I could please ask her if I ever actually followed her to the bathroom when she went there?
Go ahead. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, I was going, he doesn't even know I was going to the bathroom. So that's what I was told.
So how could I
by the
follow you?
police.
Hold on. She's clarifying. Go ahead.
I was told by the police officers to leave my booth and go to the bathroom. So I picked up my phone, and then he yells as I'm leaving my booth and calls me cop caller. And he has it on one of his videos, and actually his own voice saying that to me. But I didn't say anything back. I walked out, took the phone, and then he was trying to follow me through the back of the booth, but he lost me because he got tied up in the crowd in front of the Bam Bakery.
Okay, sir, so all 4 weekends that you were there, did you film the petitioner all 4 weekends?
Not the last one. And the only reason I would film is because every time I would go by her booth, she's claiming that she's calling police and doing all, she's the only one that does this there. You know, if someone else was to do that, I would film them also. And then she went around, ma'am, I'd like to show you this paper she passed around to the market about today's hearing, where what this mainly has to do with, she finds that I create disruptions at the market and bother her, and that it's destroying her business. This has nothing to do with her being in fear. She's just using this as a crutch to try and keep me from coming to a public venue and expressing myself and having First Amendment activity there.
Well, let me just, you've used the word fear a few times. This doesn't have anything to do with fear.
Or threaten or stop or whatever term
This
she's
is about
using there.
stalking. This is about do you or do you not have a legitimate purpose? Was she harassed? Was there an emotional response from her, a negative emotional response, which there was? And are you causing that emotional response? And is there a legitimate purpose for you having caused it? That's what I'm looking at, not whether or not she's afraid of you.
If you don't mind, ma'am, I'd like to read the definition of stalking here in Florida.
You don't need to read it to me, but you could read it for your own edification if you'd like.
Part B of the statute says that the term does not include constitutionally protected activity such as picketing or organized protest.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that the legislator put that in there because anytime someone would walk around a public sidewalk like what I did, film or hold a sign, and someone became emotionally distressed, they could go to court against people try to get them arrested, try and get restraining orders put on them, and it would curtail people's First Amendment activity. She's upset with me coming there, and people potentially won't buy things from her, and she's offended by my vulgar sign. That's what's causing her emotional distress, ma'am. If she don't like it, she can simply go to another place, sell her craft at another flea market.
Well, I have to tell you...
She chose the front of a public building to do this, ma'am.
I disagree with your interpretation. Now, one thing I do agree with is that certainly your particular sign, you want to walk around the county and with that sign, okay, you're right. The First Amendment protects your right to say that. If you want to walk down the public street and videotape, sounds kind of boring to me. I don't know why anybody would want to watch that on YouTube, but whatever. You're right. Where the problem comes in is the testimony that you're following her through the farmer's market and the repeat action. That's where we have a problem. That's where your constitutional purpose falls off. And I will enter a final judgment against you for stalking. You can wait for your paperwork. Wait for your paperwork.
Alright, everybody. Now, as I said in the comment section, this gets much, much worse. Mr. McGuire would engage after this incident on repeated incidents involving this woman, and he would bring into fold another individual by the last name of Brummel, and they would, over the course of 3 years, send sex toys to this woman and her husband. They would contact her employer. They would contact her family and friends. They would make this woman's life an absolute living hell. And then, to top this all off, they sent a dead kitten as well as human shit in the mail to this woman's house. Now, this eventually wound up finally being investigated by the Charlotte County Sheriff's Department, the FBI, and the United States Secret Service. And after all was said and done, in February of this year, this man pled guilty to stalking. And let me find where it the headline that was came up with this. But this is a national case that was seen around the country, and I had been following this case since its inception. But I got sidetracked by the other situations that I've had to put up with, and didn't get to this one. But I am going to try and share this in here as soon as I organize. I had thought I had this set up a lot better than I did. Apparently I didn't. But we'll work this out. Okay, let me get this over out of the way. And we're going to share. Okay, I don't know if this is going to be readable or not. I'm going to try my best with this. Because this is one of these things that um, in my monitor that I have set up here, sometimes these things don't come out very well. But hopefully you at home or on yours can go along with this. Now this was tried in the United States District Court, Middle Court of Florida, Fort Myers Division. Uh, and let's see, let me go down through here. So on February 3rd, 2021, a judgment was made in one count of conspiracy to commit stalking by use of an interstate facility. In this case, the United States Mail, for the delivery of the human shit and the dead kitten. Glow, this had been going on for close to 4 years, 3 to 4 years. And then he was convicted of one count or 2 counts of stalking by an interstate facility. Actually, he got 3 counts because they were making harassing phone calls, they were doing pizza deliveries, they were doing squatting calls, all sorts of things. And do I still wear masks? It depends on the circumstances. And Bologna, I would please ask that you remain on subject tonight. This is about, I don't like it when people get off subject. So anyway, it is ordered that the defendant must notify the United States Attorney for this district within 30 days of any change of name, residence, mailing address, until all fines, restitution costs, and special assessments imposed by this judgment are fully paid. It is ordered, if ordered to pay full restitution, the defendant shall notify the court and United States Attorney of any material change in defendant's economic circumstances. Defendant is hereby committed to the custody of the United States Bureau of Prisons to be imprisoned for a total of 60 months, which is 5 years. Such terms consist of 60 months as to count 1 and 60 counts as to count 2. All such terms shall run concurrently to each other, and the consecutive to the term the defendant is currently serving. Charlotte County case number 19-MM1001, and I will get into what that is about shortly. The court makes the following recommendations to the Bureau of Prisons. Incarceration in a facility close to the home, Punta Gorda, Florida. Defendant shall participate in a dual program for substance abuse and mental health treatment. Upon release from imprisonment, you will be on supervised release for a term of 3 years. Such terms consist of 3 years as to count 1 and 3 years as to count 2. All such terms to run concurrently to each other. Mandatory conditions: you must not commit another federal, state, or local crime. You must not lawfully possess a controlled substance. You must refrain from any unlawful use of a controlled substance. You must submit to 1 drug test within 15 days of release from imprisonment and at least 2 periodic tests thereafter as determined by the court. Defendant must make restitution in accordance to 18 U.S.C. 3663 and 366A or any other statute authorizing a sentence of restitution. Defendant shall cooperate in the collection of DNA as directed by the probation officer. the defendant shall comply with the standard conditions that have been adopted by this court as well as any other conditions on the attached page. And it goes into the standard conditions of supervision, which we've seen before in other cases. Defendant must report to the probation office 72 hours. Must not knowingly leave the judicial district. Must fully answer truthfully the questions by the probation officer, and so on and so forth. Additional conditions of supervised release. Defendant shall participate in a substance abuse program, outpatient and or inpatient, and follow the probation officer's instructions regarding the implementation of this court directive. Further, defendant shall contribute to the cost of these services not to exceed an amount determined reasonable by the probation officer's sliding scale for substance abuse and treatment services. During and upon completion of this program, the defendant is to direct to submit to random drug testing. 2. Defendant shall participate in a mental health treatment program, outpatient and or inpatient, and follow the probation officer's instructions regarding the implementation of this court directive. Further, defendant shall contribute to the cost of these services not to exceed an amount determined reasonable by the probation officer's sliding scale for mental health treatment services. 3. The defendant shall be prohibited from incurring new credit charges, opening an additional line of credit, or making an obligation for any major purposes without approval of the probation officer. 4. Defendant shall provide the probation officer access to any requested financial information. 5. Defendant shall submit to a search of defendant's person, residence, place of business, any storage units under defendant's control, computer, or vehicle, conducted by the United States probation officer at a reasonable time and in a reasonable manner based upon reasonable suspicion of contraband or evidence of violation of a condition of release. Failure to submit to search may be grounds for revocation. Defendant shall inform any other residents that the premises may be subject to search pursuant to this condition. Defendant shall have no contact with victims RW or AGW directly or indirectly. Defendant shall remove any and all references to the victims and remove and unpin the victim's name, addresses, or any of the victim's identifying information off his Hate the State YouTube channel. Criminal monetary penalties. The defendant shall pay the following total monetary premises under the schedule of payments set forth in the schedule of payments. An assessment of $200 and restitution of $18,047. Name of the payee shall be AGW, the husband, $5,027, and the victim $13,020. Special assessment shall be paid full and is due immediately. Having assessed the defendant's ability to pay, payment for the total monetary penalties is due as follows. Lump sum payment of $1,000 due immediately. Balance due in accordance with the following schedule. While in the custody of the Bureau of Prisons, the defendant shall pay either 1. Pay at least $25 quarterly, or if dependent has non-Unicor, or 2, pay at least 50% of your monthly earnings if working defendant has a Unicor position. Upon release from custody, defendant is ordered to begin making payments of $100 per month and this payment schedule shall continue until such time as the court is notified by defendant, the victim, or the government that there has been a material change in the defendant's ability to pay. Unless the court has expressly ordered otherwise, the special instructions above, this judgment imposes a period of imprisonment. Payment of criminal monetary penalties shall be due during the period of imprisonment. All criminal monetary penalties, except those payments made through the Federal Bureau of Prisons Inmate Financial Responsibility Program, are made to the clerk of the court unless otherwise directed by the court, the probation officer, or the United States Attorney. Defendant shall receive credit for all payments previously made towards any criminal monetary penalties imposed. Payments shall be applied in the following: 1. Assessment. 2. Restitution principal. 3. Restitution interest. 4. AVAA assessment. 5. Fine principal. 6. Fine interest. 7. Community restitution. 8. JVTA assessment. 9. Penalties. And 10. Cost, including the cost of prosecution and court costs. And it lists the total amount is $18,027, joint and several amount $18,027. Task force? No, I did not. This case I reviewed through the public court system. I did not attend the hearings. Now, this is only the beginning of everything that happened in this situation. Come on. The jokes are, that's off subject for tonight, please. Now, I am going to try and find some additional material I had ready for this. Okay, that's not one. Alright, I'm just running through something here. Because I had something set up and it's disappeared on me. Okay. So I gotta do is I gotta start getting screens taken down. Okay, now you guys go ahead and chat for a minute while I organize this mess. Yes, I attended Phil McConnell's court hearing. That's because I found out about the case in time to hear it. Now, if you had listened to the introduction, it seems that there was another case that had my full attention, and I was not able to get down there. I didn't even hear about this case until a month ago, and I have had to do back research on it. But this has been my intention, is to go to these hearings and cover them if I had not been sidetracked by my own stalkers. So, and this is not, I don't even know why you're in here, because this has absolutely nothing to do with you. I have not, I'm not going to discuss you or your companion anymore. So you can take heart in that and go over to your dark corner and BitChute and do your thing. There's no point in you stalking this channel anymore because you won. I'm not talking about you anymore unless there's any kind of criminal action that comes about that would be of concern to my audience. Now, with that out of the way, this is why I had people in here to watch this tonight, is because I didn't want to be interrupted during the live stream with this petty nonsense. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see if this comes through an audio. So I will need, let me put this over here. I will need to know if the audio comes through for this, because otherwise I'm going to have to bring this in to the room. So let's see how this works out. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring this in the room. I thought I could do the audio through my computer, and it's not working. So let me. All right, let me see this. This is gonna work this way. All right, now I gotta re-cue this thing. All right, here we go. This time it should come through.
In children's life, gonna.
Yeah.
Of this, how are you doing?
Up the street to
Never forget.
She still lives in fear. Wake News reporter Erica Jackson sat down with the woman to hear her story.
Gail Whitesole will never forget.
All right, let me see why we're. Okay, that's good. I'll start this over again.
Harassment. Tonight, she says even though the men responsible are in jail, she still lives in fear. Wake News reporter Erica Jackson sat down with the woman to hear her story.
Gail Whitesole will never forget.
the stuff that was going on, I was afraid. I couldn't even let my granddaughter walk up the street to her friend's house.
She just can't get the images, the phone calls, the threats out of her head. Now that the men who did this to her are behind bars, she decided to tell her story.
After 2 years of this, how are you doing today?
I'm scared.
With good reason. One of the men convicted of stalking her, Ian McGuire, filmed Whitesole at a farmer's market, then posted the video on his YouTube channel. His accomplice, Bretton Osborne, a fan of McGuire's videos, saw the video and helped McGuire terrorize Whitesole and her family.
I got the blunt of it, that's the thing. The 898 phone calls. 898 phone calls that threatened my life, threatened my grandchildren's life, gonna rape us, gonna rape my 12-year-old granddaughter, put a shotgun up my husband's butt.
On top of all that, the men sent her remains of a kitten and fecal matter in the mail. A restraining order against McGuire didn't help.
Every sexually explicit toy anybody could ever get in the mail, I think we had it.
They faked a 911 call that we were being attacked inside our house. The SWAT team came here with four police cruisers and guns drawn.
With both men now in federal prison, the Whitesalls believe they got justice. But that doesn't mean the family's not afraid.
What they did, they changed my life forever.
But Whitesall told me she's proud that she never backed down. In Northport, Erica Jackson, Wink News Now.
Now, this is an extreme example of what this man did. And this is only a small portion of the story. They did a search of this man's house before this incident occurred. And they found 36 weapons, including AR-15s, Glocks, all kinds of weapons, ammunition, and a munitions factory. This guy was making his own bullets, not just shotgun shells or the kind of ammunition that a hunter would make. He was making ammunition for the AR-15s. He was making ammunition for all kinds of weapons. He was converting the AR-15s from semi-automatic to automatic. Videos put up of the search show the entire house that he lived in, literally wall-to-wall coverage of weapons and weapon material. He had drugs in the open all over the house. And he had been convicted of a federal weapons charge after he had gone to trial for the stalking, and that was what he was in prison for, was the possession of illegal firearms. Not just firearms, but illegal ones, because he had illegally converted these weapons. The backyard was full of lawnmowers. Apparently he fixed lawnmowers as part of his way of making a living. Never, he only got as far as high school, which, just because you didn't graduate high school. And so this is the kind of guy that was chasing after this 70-year-old woman. Yeah, now this guy might have freedom of speech, to go around wearing these disgusting signs and celebrating the fact that 2 policemen died in the line of duty, trying to arrest someone that killed his wife, or his girlfriend actually, he wasn't married, and their child. But nonetheless, he just couldn't leave this woman alone, and he couldn't leave other people in Punta Gorda alone. This man has a history of walking up to people in the middle of the road, sticking his camera in their face, and basically harassing them with a stupid sign around his chest. He goes into police stations with his video camera. He goes, or did, he's not doing anymore. Well, if you don't like the show Task Force, I'll do you the favor of making it so you don't have to see it anymore. I mean, I don't understand what you're doing in here. So we take care of that problem. This is what Task Force likes to do. She likes to come in here and disrupt something she's not welcome to. She's got her BitChute channel over there, So why not go over there? I mean, she's already, I don't know. But this is something that I'm not surprised about Task Force. She doesn't recognize what happened here. That some 70-year-old lady, basically just operating a booth in a farmer's market, got harassed and stalked by this character. I guess they enjoy that sort of thing. They enjoy people getting harassed and stalked and having dead cats sent through the mail and human shit sent through the mail. This is the kind of people that Task Force is and supports. So I'm not surprised. And even though I don't want to talk about these people anymore, they keep coming in here, wanting attention that they're not going to get. Because life goes on. I'm going to be doing a series of these things and so forth. And what I'm going to try and do is find the paperwork that I had of the search warrant. But what I am going to do is I'm going to bring up the FBI put out a bulletin on February 29, 2021 regarding the two defendants in this particular case. And so I'm going to bring that in here. Well, it's it just shows how desperate she is for attention. But Hate the State of Ian McGuire was taken down by YouTube, and this was the Facebook channel he used to have. And so they took it down. His stuff is still on Facebook. Now, this is the FBI release of the case, and U.S. District Judge Sherry Polster Campbell today sentenced Breton Howard Osborne, 29, of Punta Gorda, Florida, to 3 years and 8 months in federal prison for stalking and conspiracy to commit stalking. He was also ordered to complete 300 hours of community service. Osborne's co-defendant, Ian Douglas McGuire, 30, of Fort Charlotte, was previously sentenced to 5 years in federal prison for the same offenses. Osborne and McGuire have been ordered to pay victim restitution. Osborne and McGuire had previously pled guilty. According to the court documents, between March 8, 2019 and June 27, 2019, McGuire and Osborne conspired together to stalk and harass victim HEW. Together, they combined multiple acts of stalking using the United States mail, the internet, with the intent to injure, harass, and intimidate the victim, causing the victim to fear serious bodily injury. They also caused substantial emotional distress to the victim. Among other things, McGuire and Osborne posted videos on McGuire's YouTube channel and pinned to those victim's personal information to the victim. They also mailed items including fecal matter and a dead kitten to the victim and ordered services, food, materials to be delivered to her home that she did not authorize. Materials being, again, sex toys. The case was investigated by the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, the Punta Gorda Police Department, Northport Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the United States Postal Inspection Service. It was prosecuted by the Chief Assistant United States Attorney Jesus M. Cass, or however you pronounce that. But that was, the FBI's take on all of this. Why do people do this? I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, the woman was running, of all things, a flea market booth. She was minding her own business, Oops. She wasn't harming anyone. And just because she said, I don't like your sign, leave me alone, go away, it led to this kind of harassment and stalking. And at least it stopped in this case. He's in federal prison. He's not going to be able to bother this old lady anymore. And so one can hope that others may learn from this. Probably not, because there are other stalking cases out there that I'm looking at, because I'm going to make a series of this. I'm getting away from talking about one particular stalker and going on to other cases of where this sort of thing keeps happening. This is a recent case. It's the most severe that I've seen in the state in quite some time, but it's only one of thousands of them. And it's mind-boggling that someone would do this. It's fine to go out and harass Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, any of these other people, even David Strait and all those people, because they're prominent citizens. But leave ordinary people alone. I don't get it. What do they think they're accomplishing by going after ordinary people? They're not accomplishing a damn thing. They're showing their lack of mental and emotional development, apparently, doing these things. But that, for now, that's my report on this particular case. Now, I may do updates on this case as I go along because there's a lot that I didn't report. But there are other cases out there. And I'm also waiting to hear about any updates on the Cynthia Abzug case coming this August, because I may go up there. I haven't made a decision yet. It depends on interest in the case and whether or not there's going to be something to report, because what I've been able to determine so far is that she was thinking about working something out with the court, and I don't know what that's going to be. But right now, the last I checked, the case is still on the docket for August, and also the Cynthia Abzug case is still on the docket for August as well. Now, I will definitely be doing something with the Neely Blanchard case, but I don't know what I'm going to do about the Abzug case quite yet, because I don't know if there's going to be anything to report or not. But I am going to start checking to see what other cases are of interest are out there. Okay, where are we not seeing Marion County? Oh, there it is. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in real quick Do you think he's shutting off? Huh. The air conditioner in the living room here keeps shutting off. Alright, let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a busy month. Because one's the beginning of the month and one's, let me see if I can, because let's see, nothing has come up. But jury selection in the Blanchard case is the 22nd of February. Or 22nd of August, excuse me. So all that information that I reported on last week is still there. And so with the August 22nd, I'm just checking something. Okay. Okay, August 22nd is a Monday. So that would mean probably be a week-long trial at minimum from the 22nd on. 22nd to the 26th, depending on what uh, they do there. And it would be um, streamable. If I don't do it and one of the internet people do it, or even one of the local affiliates, then I would defer to them, but I would be there to do live coverage in the courthouse during the trial. And so I don't know as if I'd go up for jury selection, but I'd probably go up for the beginning of the trial. Because I can't, jurors are protected, so other than possibly doing a background, since I would be getting up there and getting set, I might do something along those lines. So I would be in Ocala, Florida for the entire trial. That's the way things look right now. Yeah, I do have old information on Blanchard, so let me go back, or on Absug. So let me pull up my file on that. Yeah, don't understand that. I keep getting one message notification here, but okay, let me go back up. Okay, the last I heard on the ABSUG is we're looking at August 8th with things beginning up there. They had a pre-trial readiness conference on the 21st, and I have not gotten the information on that yet. But so I would be going up to Colorado. Looks like the first week or so in August, and then I would be going up to Ocala near the end of August. So it's going to be an interesting month. So as soon as I have information on ABSUG as to any current or changing events, I will let everyone know. And I am going to be checking to see what my next um, presentation is going to be, and I'm going to try to get better at this as I go along. I had a lot more planned for this particular case tonight, but as is the case, a couple of files that I had that I wanted to bring up disappeared. And if there is interest in this case still, I will be bringing up such things as the search warrant for the weaponry and photographs that were taken inside McGuire's home of everything that he had. Uh, and for some reason, the material did not get saved, and so I got to go back and find it all again, and then I may do a follow-up. Oh, now things started up again. It must be on a circuit breaker or on a timer or something. That's what that whistling noise is you're going to hear in the microphone. That's my air conditioner. Finally got one in here, and it turned off again. Weird. Well, you're quite welcome, Laurie. This is my original plans uh, for this um, channel, and it's what I'm going to be going back to. I'm going to be doing things of interest in the true crime arena as I find them, and if they're Florida cases, I will present them. Um, Now, because of a schedule I have, I doubt I'm going to be doing any live streams from the court itself, but I will be bringing history of cases as they work their way through the court, such as the Blanchard case. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is that is going to be it for tonight. Uh, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. This is going to be recorded naturally, so if you folks want to see the entire presentation, it will be here. And um, if people decide they want to see more on this particular case, I will do a follow up in the coming weeks as I find more material and better organize everything. And so, with that, I would like to say please like, subscribe, hit the notification and button so that you can be notified when stuff like this comes up. And of course, I'll always put things up on my Twitter channel as to what I will be talking about then. I will be doing stuff on my M4K channel eventually, so stay tuned for notifications about that. So have a good 4th weekend, folks. Don't blow your hands off with fireworks. Have a good cookout, do all the things that people do on a holiday, and just celebrate democracy that is offered by this country. And think of those who gave their lives to maintain this freedom for all of us. And as always, make your day a good day. And have a good one. Good night, all.